Hi, welcome to today's episode. My guests today are Nicola and Liz, who've both been estate agents for a long time, but had some concerns about becoming a self-employed estate agent. So they decided to join together to form a partnership, and this has worked out really well for them. So welcome, Nicola and Liz.
Thanks, Sean.
Hi,
Thank
Sean.
you for having us.
So let's start. If you could just tell us a bit about your journey in estate agency. Nicola, so how did you get started? How did you become an estate agent?
It was actually by chance. We were moving back from Germany to the UK, and we'd been looking for a property. And we'd been dealing with estate agents in Hampshire, and they were really, really nice, and they helped us because it was quite difficult back then. It was kind of before the internet was a big thing.
Yeah.
So, we were back to kind of paper details and posts, and they found us a house, and they were actually looking for someone then, and they offered me a job. The timing was great. I was actually a hotel manager previously. My training was in hotel and catering. So it was a bit different, but I embraced it. I loved it. Spent a couple of years in Hampshire.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Rugby. And I saw an ad in the paper back in the day, looking for someone for Fine and Country. And I really wanted a job because I could tell, it was a company that was really kind of forward thinking, and I just liked the concept.
And how long ago was this?
18 years.
It's quite a while.
Yes, yeah.
So that's how you got into estate agency. And what sort of attracted you to the industry?
I think it was the people, because it was quite difficult. I had a 3-year-old, we were living abroad, we were house hunting, and they were just really nice. They went the extra mile. I mean, I remember when I met them, they showed us a selection of houses. They weren't what I was looking for. I described what I was. They said, "Oh, we've got one." And it was before kind of open plan was a thing. But, I had a 3-year-old I wanted to keep an eye on. So they said, "Well, we've got one coming up." So I flew back the next weekend. My flight was late.
Yeah.
It was a Saturday. They waited. It was about 6:30 at night for us all to have a look at it. And they were just really helpful. And what could have been quite a stressful, situation, having to find a home back in the UK, was actually a real pleasure. Got on really well, did a lot of training with them, and really enjoyed the job. I really enjoyed meeting people and then helping them find a property, because we've moved around a lot. We'd lived in the Middle East, we'd lived in London, So, I just really enjoyed helping people find their perfect property, really. So.
Brilliant. And we'll continue that story. But before we do, we'll ask Liz. So Liz, how did you get into estate agency? I sort of know a little bit of the answer, but for the people watching today, what were you doing before, and how did you find this role?
Well, Sean and I met over 30 years ago when I worked for Barclays. Started my career in banking, which took me overseas to Qatar, and worked for a couple of banks over there as well. And then I took a bit of a career break to have my son, and took some time out for that, which was lovely to be a mum at home. And then when I was looking at finding a part-time job, I ended up working for Laura Ashley. Because I've always enjoyed interiors and property, and I can do a bit of sewing as well. So that was a really good job. I enjoyed that. And while I was there, I bumped into Caroline, which is Sean's wife. And she said that Fine and Country were looking for people like me, whatever that means. And so I went in and I met the team at Rugby, and I joined over 15 years ago.
Wow. That's quite a long time ago, isn't it? We must have been very young when we first met. That's what I can say. Yeah. So you joined, and so I guess that's obviously as an employed basis, and you enjoyed that, and that's how most of estate agents in the UK work. And then tell me a little bit about what you were doing in that role. So Liz, what was your first role? What were you doing to start with?
Yeah, so my first role was actually taking people out and showing them around the property, so an accompanying viewer. Which I loved. I mean, that's
right. I remember.
Yeah. So it was just a weekend job. I used to just work on the Saturday and Sundays, but that worked well around sort of family life. And then as I got sort of more involved with the job, I was asked to come in and then take over the marketing role within the office.
Yeah.
And that was when we were still doing adverts in newspapers and things, and had like real deadlines, which was interesting at times.
Yeah.
Obviously got involved in all the new concepts that came forward, such as the open houses, and then obviously the social media side. And then an opportunity came up to move into the sales role, which I think was what I was probably born to do. So, And I think with all of the experience within the bank, the customer service, just enjoying meeting people. And I think what people like about me and Nick is we're just ourselves. We just, if we're showing somebody around a property and it's not right for them, then, you're not going to try and force them to try and buy a property. It just doesn't work. It's all about just giving a great customer service, and people like that and seem to come back to us. So
brilliant. So, and just continuing that, when you first started then, Nicola, what was your role and what were you doing to start with?
So I'd had my second son and he was a year old. So I only just wanted a bit of a part-time role.
Yeah.
And the job was actually a 3-month contract with Fine & Country. It was to sell to Parker Lake, new build properties in Flecknoe. Yeah. But the property sold really quickly. So I was then, I was like, okay, what am I going to do now? And it was Chris who was running the office at the time. And he said, would you like to join us? And of course I said, yeah, absolutely. So initially it was just weekends. That worked with our family life, because my husband could look after the children whilst I was at work and vice versa. But then it was very much a role that I grew into. The training was fantastic. It was an area that I could see myself being in for a long period of time. Yeah. So then I went on to job share with Bridget's, which again worked around family life, school timings as well. Yeah. Until James went to school full time, and that's when I became full time as well. So. Brilliant.
It's really interesting to go back and that progression, that step by step progression, and then so both of you then became full time, dealing with the sales, and I think. Originally, other people were sort of listing the houses and you were selling.
Yes.
And obviously that's been, did you say how many years? 15? 18 years.
Yeah. Collectively over 30.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. So you've got to see a lot of properties, sell a lot of properties, deal with a lot of homeowners. And then more recently, what I'd like to sort of touch on now, and this is becoming a common thing for people to consider now who are in that employed role, is this step of becoming self-employed. Yeah. And so it's something you were probably aware of for quite some time, but obviously you didn't want to do that straight away. Can you just tell me about how you felt about that model, and and what were your thoughts or feelings, or I guess your concerns about it, going from being, having an employed role where you've got a guaranteed salary to maybe being self-employed. So do you want to start, Nicola?
Sure.
What was your feelings about the model?
Well, I remember when you came back from the States and you told us about the model, and it sounded really quite exciting. But it was kind of in its infancy at that point, within the UK. And I could see it's something that I would do eventually over time. I suppose I had concerns mainly from a time point of view. Yeah. I think, we both became self-employed with our eyes wide open. I come from a background, my dad has his own business. I grew up working in the family catering business. So I knew exactly what was ahead of me, so to speak, in terms of commitment. And I wanted to be able to give my clients that commitment. So my main concern was time management. I've got 2 sons. My husband used to work abroad a lot pre-COVID. Yeah. So I was always juggling. So I think it was time, a bit about financial as well, because there's a financial uncertainty. Yeah. But my main concern was time management. So.
Yeah. Okay. And then Liz, what was your thoughts on this self-employed model?
Yes, I mean, like Nicola said, I think when it was in its infancy, there was a lot of, it's a big risk financially. Yeah. But I think as we saw more and more people becoming very successful in that, in doing that, I think as well with what happened last year in the pandemic, I think a lot of people took time out to think about their jobs and their lifestyles. And obviously both of our families are now at a position where they're very more independent, so they weren't in need of our time so much. And we talked about it together, didn't we? Because I think we always felt we'd worked together for many years. We both bring different strengths to the partnership.
So it's just worth adding now, just so people know that you work as a partnership, you work together. So that's a great concept. But carry on.
Yes, and I mean, it was something as well that we weren't sure whether, as sort of as Fine & Country, would be interested in people working together as a partnership. And obviously, we discussed it with you, and you were like more than happy for us to go to give it a go. And I just think we, like I said, we both bring different strengths to it. And I think after what happened last year, we both thought, we're doing the whole job pretty much. People are calling us directly to say, you did such a lovely job when we bought our house from you. We would love you to come back and help us to move to our next home. And we just thought to ourselves, well, we should be doing this for ourselves really, and getting the sort of the recognition and the reward that for what we do. Yeah. So but it's scary. You have to sort of really make sure that it is the right thing for you. We've got no regrets, have we? No, we're really, really pleased we've done it.
Let's go back to the decision, because I think you took a while to come to this conclusion, to make this decision, and quite rightly, and some very valid reasons. And I'm sure there's people out there that have got a similar concerns or reasons. So what do you think was stopping you? What were some of the things that you didn't like the idea of doing?
Okay, he's probably going to hate me for this, but my son went to uni in London, and London rents, it's really expensive. My other son was at sixth form at rugby school, so obviously there was that element as well. So
got high outgoings.
I mean, not that they both done really well, and absolutely happy to do that. But I guess there was the uncertainty, the risk. I wanted to wait until Mark had finished uni, and then James has now finished rugby and he's going off to uni in a couple of weeks. So I've got one who's out there in the big bad world on his own. He's a trainee solicitor. He doesn't need bank of mum and dad anymore, and it's just one left. So.
I think the other thing as well was Nicola and I are quite private people, and obviously the way that the industry is moving forward, there's a huge amount of properties now, and we market them through social media, and that was something that we were aware of. Obviously, we had our own Facebook pages ourselves. It was a fantastic concept to be able to get in touch with old school friends and things like that. But obviously, we could see that the industry was moving very much into the social media, and I think for a while we were thinking, do we really want to be in front of a camera, doing videos, doing all of that? And it's frightening. Everything that's new to you that you've not done before, there's a fear there, isn't there? Yeah. But I think for anybody that's thinking about doing it, just embrace it. It gets better. Yeah. It gets easier.
I know you don't look it. We don't look it, and obviously we are sort of an older generation. We're not 20 years old, whereas 20-year-olds, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all of those are just normal everyday things that they've used. We never had the internet.
I think they look at us a bit gone out when we talk about things when there wasn't technology and there wasn't the internet. I think, really?
So I think it is a big step for people who are a little bit older to think, well, I don't really understand all this social media and how do I use it? And sometimes it's just easier not to deal with it. Yeah. And certainly we don't want to be in front of a camera. No, everyone thinks, I don't want to be, even today, it wasn't even a quick decision to say, let's do it. You're putting yourself out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely.
Every time, to do that. And that takes a lot of bravery. And I think it's great respect to you both for sort of getting out of your comfort zone. And you said something to me the other day, Nicola. What was it?
You've got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I said to you, I felt like that for the first 3 months. And it's true. But I think what you said about social media, I mean, yes, we both had Facebook accounts. We'd LinkedIn accounts. I don't even think they had our photograph on them. We did a lot of work. Timing wise, arguably it wasn't the best time to go self-employed, because we just we said we were going self-employed and then we went into lockdown. Actually, it was a great time because we learned, Sophie from head office, her videos on social media were absolutely amazing. She was really helpful. I even asked her if she could do some further ones on Instagram, which she did in webinars, which was brilliant. My son helped a lot. Georgie, our assistant, helped a lot as well. So it was a learning curve. It was something that was new to us.
Yeah.
But now it's just like second nature, really.
Yeah. The people we work with that do the social media side and the videos and things are fantastic.
Yeah.
They just make you so at ease. And
the filming is you're talking about.
Filming, sorry, I'm talking about the filming now.
Because I think you're right. I spoke to someone yesterday and they said, I've seen these videos, those people look amazing, I'm never going to be like that. And I said, if only you knew.
Yes.
What you see, they might have had to do 10 different takes and you're just seeing the best one, you know.
Yeah.
So that, and the reality is, you know, I've seen your videos, they're brilliant, you know, and I'm so impressed and so pleased with you, but I'm sure you've had to retake a few and
yeah, I mean, I think it gets easier.
Yes.
And now it's usually just a couple of takes and we do it.
It's good to be prepared as well.
We do prepare, yeah. But ultimately, you know, it's about the house. You know, at first we used to think, oh gosh, you know, we don't like the way we sound, we don't like the way we look. But we've kind of gone way beyond that. Now it's just, we just look at the house, you know, can we stand, you know, we ask the videographers what's the best place to stand to get the best shots, you know, so
it's all about the property, it's not about
the
us.
marketing. So we're, you know, kind of irrelevant, but yeah.
Great. Okay, well, we'll maybe talk about some of the stuff you're doing in another interview. But what I'd like to sort of go back to is, so the process of making that decision is a big step and a big leap into, you know, the unknown. So at some point you made that decision. Yeah. How, can you just go through what you weighed up? You know, what were the fors, what were the againsts? And I suppose what was the thing that actually pushed you to making that decision to make the leap?
So I think the world changed. You know, we were in lockdown, we had COVID. Liz and I'd worked together for many years. Actually, you know, where we shared everything, our commission, you know, we were a team anyway. Yeah. So it was kind of a natural progression. And I think we just came to the realization that, you know, we were doing 95% of the job, you know, the social media, the videos. It wasn't a reason not to be self-employed.
Yeah.
And I think we were kind of looking forward to having the flexibility that being self-employed actually offers. So if we want to go to the gym at lunchtime, we can do. If we want to go shopping, we can do. Okay, it might mean we're working till 9, 10 o'clock at night, but, you know, there's the flexibility there.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a challenge.
Yeah.
We thought we could do it, you know.
Yeah.
So we thought, why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
We worked together really, really well. So there was kind of no reason not to.
Were there any doubts, any question marks?
I think there's always, you always feel there's a risk that you're taking from walking away from a security of a salary every month, to being completely commission based.
Yeah.
And obviously it takes time. You know, you've got to build up your portfolio. You don't get paid probably within the first sort of maybe 3 to 4 months of you starting. That's if you're lucky to get a listing straight away. Yeah. So we sat down and we talked it through, didn't we? And we decided that you know, it was worth the risk for us. It was the right time for us. We were already working at different hours anyway. Obviously, during lockdown and COVID, you were talking to clients perhaps in the evening. Yeah. We weren't in an office environment for quite a while, and I think all of that just made us sort of our eyes open and think, this is the right time for us now. And we know that you had been talking to us for a long time about doing it. And I think you knew eventually we would. Yeah. But I think for anybody, it just has to be the right time for them. And it was for us.
It does have to be the right time. And I was conscious that I knew it was the best for you, but I would never push anyone into doing anything or say, well, you know, it had to be your decision. It's a bit like saying someone wants to give up smoking. You can't force them. They've got to give up when they're ready.
That's right.
Yeah. And I just wanted to let you know what the potential was, but you had some very valid reasons which make perfect sense, and so it's got to be the right timing. And so the right timing come along. You made that decision. What happened next? How long has it been, and how has the whole thing been so far?
It's been brilliant. We love it. Absolutely love it. One thing that we haven't really mentioned was that, you know, we don't work from an office. I'd say we work from home, but then most days we're out in appointments, you know, whether it's viewings, valuations, whether it's prospecting. So, but we're not in an office, which we really, really love. Our clients love it as well. You know, if they contact us, there's no kind of background noise. We can give them more time, you know, in a phone call. I think we really enjoy it.
we'd sort of established ourselves within Fine & Country, having been there for a long time.
Yeah.
And therefore, we were lucky enough to have lots of clients that were coming back to us directly.
Yeah.
And that's been the case certainly this year, hasn't it? At the very beginning, obviously, we were going into the winter months, probably not the busiest time for estate agents, although obviously it has been a busy couple of years. So we were out being busy ourselves, weren't we? Trying to make people aware that, you know, to contact us directly, that we're now doing it ourselves. Yeah. And we're really, really delighted with the response. We've had some lovely, lovely testimonials as well. Some really nice feedback, haven't we, from our clients? And I think it just shows that we just really enjoy what we do.
Yeah.
We don't see it as a job. We just feel very honoured to get the opportunity to sell people's houses and to help people find their next home.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's quite an emotional journey, but we try and help as much as we can with that, don't we? And take the stress and all the issues away and deal with it. So
I just want to go back to one of the points you made, Nicola. It's quite valid actually, about the office. Yeah. So I'm sure at one time you were thinking, well, we need to be in an office. We like to work in an office, and that was important for you. How has your views changed and your clients' views changed on that? Because the office is still there.
It's still there.
But nobody goes in.
I just think from a time management point of view, and time's quite important to me, I get so much more done. You know, we both do. I mean, we talk to each other all the time. Sometimes we're FaceTiming each other while we're doing work, you know. Yeah. But from a time management point of view, there's no distractions. We're focused. I could never go back to working in an office, I'll be honest with you, you know.
I think it's nice to work together. I think if I was working on my own, I would possibly miss the interaction with other people, but then obviously you're out seeing clients, so you get your sort of interaction from that. The office was, I mean, at the time before obviously all of COVID, our office was a busy office. We would have customers coming in. We've got a lovely front window with all of our lovely properties in, which people would stop and look at. But I think time's moved on now and things have changed. So, but as far as what we offer our customers, like Nicola said, being at home and working from home, they can contact us quite as easily as if we were sitting in an office. Yeah. So
great.
And they know that we're available, you know, 24/7.
Yes.
So,
Just want to touch on this point about you working together, because I think that's a great concept. And we've got a number of other couples. I've got husband and wives, other people that are not related, if that's the right word, that are couples, working together, partnerships like you. So what would you say, you know, are the benefits of that for you and for your clients?
I think it's having support, you know.
For each other.
Yeah, for each other, absolutely.
From the client's perspective, they can speak to one of us pretty much 24/7. Yeah. So if one of us is on holiday, we never take holidays together. Yeah. We're very conscious of the fact that we are providing a service, and therefore we don't want that service to be interrupted if one of us is on holiday. So that's fantastic. I mean, if they can't get hold of one of us, then they can normally get hold of the other. And we just bring different strengths to the partnership. So
I just think it's a really good concept. I think, you know, there's people out there that might be thinking of doing this on their own. I think, maybe I'm not sure, but if they want to do it with someone else, it's two of you working together. Definitely works better in some respects, and I think it's great for the clients as well. I'm sure if you want a market appraisal, you know, that when the client talks to both of you, they can, well, if I can't get hold of Liz, I can speak to Nicola, or one might get on really well with you and might have something in common with Nicola. Yes. Anyway, I just think there's lots of benefits. Maybe we'll talk about that in another video, but it's definitely worth someone considering that. Absolutely. If they're unsure about, you know, going into self-employment or business on their own, they could do it with someone, a friend or a relative, husband, wife. That's great. So now you're self-employed. There's the flexibility in hours. How does that change your life? You know, what's it like? What's life like now for you? And what's different?
It's great,
absolutely fantastic. Yeah. We're less stressed. Yeah. We sleep more.
Yeah.
No, we love what we do, you know, so every day we're getting up and, you know, we love it. There's no, I've got to go into the office or anything else, you know. Yeah, every day's a good day. And
I think we always have enjoyed what we do, and I think that's why we've done it for so long, really. Yeah. But I think now that you're sort of your own boss, obviously with the support of Fine & Country as a sort of the umbrella, I just think we feel that so long as we are providing that excellent service to our customers, we don't feel guilty if we want to pop down, like you say, to the gym, which we've just joined, during the day, or you want to go and hang your washing out, you want to nip to go to the shops. Because we're still mums, we're still wives, we've still got things that we need to do at home, but it's just a different way of working. And if you're on your laptop or your computer at 9 o'clock at night responding to something, you don't mind because it's because of what you want to deliver to your clients. So.
I think it's very much a lifestyle. It's not just a job; it's a lifestyle.
Yeah. And so, just to finish up then, because it's been fascinating, and I've really just enjoyed chatting to you, hearing it, and even though we've known each other for a long time, you forget what you've been doing in the past and how you've. And I'm sure other people will be inspired by what you've said, that will be able to relate to your journeys and what you've done over the years and how you've developed. And this really is like, people always want to progress, and sometimes it's promotion, but I think, for a lot of people, the next step is the highest step is to be running your own business, having that flexibility. And as regards to any advice you'd give someone who's considering, having gone through it yourself and also been on the no, we don't want to do this, and then you decided to do it. If anyone who's thinking about it or on the fence thinking, should I do it, shouldn't I do it? What advice would you give them? Whether they should or they shouldn't, or
I'd say go for it. Make sure the time's right for them and that they're prepared, because there could be a period of 6 months where they're building the business and they're perhaps not earning much. So make sure financially the time is right for them. Just go for it.
Do as much as you can for yourself as well. Keep learning. We're both qualified, so if there's exams and things you can do, then do that. Just do as much as you possibly can to put yourself in a position where a client wants to choose you over somebody else. So.
And the fact that you live in this town, you've been working in this town for quite some time, you've already got a good reputation of past clients and recommendations. So it's almost like you've already had a platform there to move into it. So
I think that that's a really valid point. And for anyone who's in the same position, who's in an employed position, been within a town for a certain period of time, go for it. Our last 5 listings, 3 have been previous clients and 2 have been personal recommendations.
Brilliant.
From people whose properties we've actually sold. So,
Well, it's been a fascinating story. I really appreciate your time. And what I'd like to do in a future video is perhaps have a chat about what you do as an estate agent, perhaps give some advice and tips to anyone out there who's an estate agent, who wants to be an estate agent, and what you do and how you get your houses on the market, how you sell them, and why people love dealing with you.
Yeah,
so thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having us.
So I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like more information about becoming a self-employed estate agent, I will add a link in the description. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.